Sup KBA Squad, this is Last Shelter. We're in Season 8, Eden Conflict Wonders, and this week kicks off the first of 7 hero drops throughout the season, and it is the 4 that we have featured here: Cyclone, Dawn, Prophet, and Lust. I'm going to talk a bit about this. Overall, my thoughts on this particular pour the next couple of weeks, where you might want to spend your tickets, so a little bit more on strategies, and then just overall what I think about this particular drop. Now, before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor for today's video, Leo's VIP Club. If you're looking to pick up the latest APC and base skins to fill out your decor album, with also a new Dominator base skin arriving that looks pretty dope, then make sure you head over to Leo's VIP Club. I'll put a link to his Line official Discord group in the video description down below. Right, so first off, we received a preview of season hero drops before Eden Conflict started, and they outlined the first 2 weeks, which headlined Cyclone and then Flare. The first week is, of course, a Cyclone with Dawn, Lust, and Prophet, while the second week is Flare, Retrograder, Scorpion, and Huntress. Now, depending how your heroes look, you might find one of the two better. In my particular case, I actually had Retrograder and Huntress maxed, and that's kind of been the case for the last couple of seasons, and it hasn't rotated that much. But we have Scorpion and Flare, which kind of makes it nice, but increases the risk of duplicates. Whereas in week 1, I kind of didn't have any of these heroes developed much. Of course, Cyclone being the newest one this season, and then only having 1 copy of Dawn, 1 copy of Lust, and then 2 copy of Prophet. Outside of the first 2, if you want to pick up Cyclone or Flare, you're going to get most likely chance in terms of the number of heroes. There's just 4 of them compared to future weeks, which are going to be roughly 7 or 8 heroes. So if you're looking to have a high chance of duplicates, then it will be these 4. The new wish list function that has already kicked off is only available in drops out beyond 4, so we would only see the wish list function from week 3. Now, in terms of week 3, we managed to get a preview from all the states, and it was 2 of last season's heroes, Scorpion and Dawn. They were sat alongside Kamikaze, who were kind of the best picks, with Koshé, Betrayed, and a few others. That one, unless you really want to get duplicates for Dawn, Scorpion, Kamikaze also being a very strong pick, it might be one you want to avoid, which means you either want to dip into the first or second week for the new heroes and then skip the next couple. So for me in particular, I decided to actually pull in this group just because compared to week 2 and week 3, they were unfavorable of who I actually wanted, and in terms of having maxed heroes, that sort of spoiled the mix a bit. So I decided to dip in here and then use the next couple of weeks to rebuild my super tickets. Dawn and Scorpion last season really shook up the meta, and both worked tremendously well. So going forward, if you didn't have much luck getting Dawn like I did last season, besides my season rewards picking up Dawn from group 1, this is a great chance to sort of keep up with the meta combos and open up the wider metas that are running, such as with Scorpion, Siren, but also in the all fighter formation that is kind of doing the rounds with Siren and Flare. So you can see with my second copy, I just have her Awaken because her healing works tremendously well. She is still going to be great to have and is both fighter friendly and mix friendly. So if you got Baneblade or just full fighter sets, she's still going to work. And of course, the more copies you have, the better. So in terms of duplicates, by the number of heroes, you have a good chance, but of course it doesn't always go that way. Next up, we have Lust, who again, I only had 1 copy of. She's decent. I wouldn't say she's been a great addition. She's probably one of the less stellar new heroes to drop in the last few seasons, alongside Retrograder. Retrograder making a better and more useful combo with all vehicles, such as Heaven's Redemption and Death Rider. Also with Kami, or just being that high focused healing and his versatility to use with any of the troop types. Lust is kind of much more narrow, specific, not as hard hitting as say as Nomad or Hummingbird, but has more of that variety effects that plays well with Scorpion through Poison and also Confusion as well. So she definitely adds more arsenal and is still a nice pickup, just not making that big of a round when it comes to meta combos. You'll probably find her ran mostly with TP, Tech Priestess, Wrath, and herself, so that sits alongside the other meta formations, so she can still form a part of your APCs, but she's pretty limited otherwise. Lust, I still like her though, which in Lust's case is still pretty good. Just adds confusion immunity, so it's really only the few heroes that inflict confusion, which is Tech Priestess, Hunk, Organic, and then having some extra damage if they are in a counter state. While that's quite nice, I figured since she needs kind of 3 copies to be usable, so she needs skill 6 and skill 8. And then finally we have Prophet, who, like I mentioned, I had 2 copies previously, pulling in a pool of 4 last season. That didn't work out great. When I tried to go for Dawn, it also had Shadow and Prophet, and I believe Lust. So that one I literally just got more copies of Shadow and Prophet, which wasn't great. Prophet, she of course works well in all fighter formations. She's a nice support for offensive abilities with her linked chains of fate, which gives 50% of that damage to other enemy squads that is linked to the targeted one from her skill 2. Has a fixed troop recovery block, and then also provides a debuff to the enemy depending on their troop type. But we also have Soul Bombardment, which is her combat skill, so that helps with providing a suppression opportunity and a high focus damage. She's kind of nice to have. She's more of that, not necessarily a mid-row, but has the mid-row attributes of someone that is more offensive minded rather than a defensive or a healer. But she works well if you have other great healers. So like I mentioned with Dawn, you also can run her in combat skill formations, such as with Siren and then Scorpion. So Siren being that damage dealer, and then Scorpion needing everyone to execute their combat skills. Prophet works because she has 2 combat skills alongside Siren's all combat skill abilities, so Scorpion can trigger his troop recovery block and his damage debuff as well, so that's also an alternative. Otherwise, it's just being pretty creative with how you want to make use of her extra damage that she provides. So again, as a fighter, has a few different avenues, but while she's not really running in the metas, she's also not a bad pickup either if you need a bit more offensive damage, if you're quite like I am with lacking Death Rider or usable Nomad. And then finally that leads us on to Cyclone. Early impressions, I like her. She definitely works very well with, say, Nomad, Captain Ivanov. Huntress not executing as expected, considering she has a lot of passive skill damage, but definitely with the others, they work tremendously well, even with Captain Ivanov, so still very usable, especially helpful in force tiling. If you don't have Sven or running that top formation, I think Cyclone can really help there a bit more than Panther. Where Cyclone sort of supersedes Panther is her guaranteed nature of targeting all the other enemies versus Panther's 70% splash damage effect. She is a 3-turn hero, so naturally you think with the extra damage and buffs that she provided in the first 3 turns, you normally think she works well with Huntress. While it does work, it's not as effective as it sounds. Maybe that might be fixed in the long run, but Cyclone works very well for tiling and super well when it comes to ultra offensive combos. So if you think of Ana Predator Huntress formation, you can simply slide Cyclone into that. You're going to get an extra damage buff, a wider damage to other non-targeted squads in the first 3 turns, and then her Howling Wind kind of being that passive skill after the first 3 turns, also deals like focus damage to the lowest troop count squad with some damage buff along the way. Overall, I like her. The influence by might, there's no like stat that sort of shows to what effect that increases or decreases the skill effect. It really is just whoever has the higher might means that this is going to work better if it's yours, and not work as much if the enemy has more might. But for Cyclone, she's good for force tiling. I find her currently working well when it comes to level 12s, being a bit more efficient. So even with one copy, her with Anna and Ivanov works well. And even with my Huntress and other makeshift force tiling formations, she does help power through from those. We'll see when I reach level 13, 14, 15 how that holds out. Of course, you kind of want a skill 8 if you're looking to make her for force tiling, whereas for combat, of course, you kind of need 3 copies, but she's going to run very well in normal attack combos. So overall, week 1 of season 8, Cyclone, Dawn, Prophet and Lust. Is it worthwhile? I would actually say the best hero in here is not the new hero. It's actually going to be Dawn. Dawn again is just a serious healer with that all-round coverage that kind of fills in the gaps of where current healers don't target. So whereas Canoness will target herself and the front row, Retrograder targeting anyone but focused and only one at a time to a high volume. Tech Priestess on a per damage basis, so it requires your heroes to get damage before her healing can kick in. And then Heaven's Redemption, Kamikaze being 2 squads. Dawn is the only one who currently heals the entire formation, and she does it to great success as well. She's excellent in just bringing damage dealers more to the front row because she absorbs half of that damage and also provides an additional 40% healing potential for them outside of that healing skill. And of course, many meta formations that you can run her in and just props up if you're going more of a makeshift. So Dawn actually would be the best pick. Cyclone, I would probably place a little bit higher than Prophet. I think she's going to be a great upgrade for force tiling, so her value is definitely going to shine there in just her efficiency and being the SX version of Panther. But even with combat, you're going to get a lot of kill counts with Anna and Nomad. Yeah, I think that's going to work well. And then Lust, she's still being a pretty good quality hero, can run in both shooters and mix, like say TP Wrath Lust will work well, and then Scorpion Lust if you want to go for a full shooter formation with Crochet Retrograder at the front. Yeah, those are some off meta options. She's probably the less lucrative but not bad still as a solid damage dealer, but definitely superseded by at least last season's and then this season's heroes from Flare and Cyclone. So week 1, should you drop into it? I think if you're looking to get some development and target Dawn and also want to improve your force tiling efficiency, trying to go up to the levels and high poison, then I think Dawn and Cyclone will make this worth picking up. Next week is going to be Flare, Scorpion, Huntress and Retrograder. So unless you have any of those heroes maxed, that one is going to be super worth it. But Flare does require Dawn and at least Siren to really make him strong. And then Scorpion again also needing combat skill heroes such as Siren and Dawn. That works amazingly well. Retrograder and Huntress kind of using other formations, but if you don't have any of them maxed, it's definitely a great pool to pull into. So you have to decide between week 1 and week 2. I decided to go for week 1 because I'm definitely skipping week 2 and week 3. We'll see what week 4 and week 5 looks like and where Death Rider sort of sits in and how favorable, unfavorable those pools are. Did you drop in this pool? Let me know in the comments down below your average RNG and the heroes you got. If not, which other hero drops you are looking to pull in. Make sure you check out my Eden Conflict Wonders first hour video that I've just dropped to get an idea of what wonders look like, and more tutorials, guides and match play throughout the season ahead by subscribing to my all gaming channel, Phoenix Plays. I'll see you in the next video, KBA Squad, but until then, keep being awesome. Peace.
Cyclone.